Hi everyone, this is Sarah O'Keefe. I'm moderating this discussion today between Alan Houser and Victoria Koster-Lenhardt. Thanks for coming. A couple of quick housekeeping notes. I have muted everybody except for Alan and Vicki and myself. I'm going to ask you to send your questions in through the questions area in the webcast interface. You can also use the chat mode to discuss things if you want, but we do use the questions to manage inbound questions. The presentation is being recorded. As an attendee, you will not appear in the recording, but we are recording the audio. So with that, I will turn it over to Alan and Vicki. Alan, are you there?
I am here. Hi, Sarah. Hello, everybody.
Hey there. And Vicki.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks again for arranging all of this, and thanks for everybody who's participating today.
Thanks for coming. So the ground rules, there are no ground rules. What we're going to do is we're going to give whoever answers the question first about 2 minutes to answer it, a 1-minute kind of rebuttal. We're going to try and stay on track with that and leave us about 15 minutes at the end for questions from the audience. So with that, I did actually flip a coin, and Vicki got the first question. And so Vicki, to you, what is the biggest challenge facing STC and how will you address it?
The biggest challenge I see right now is growing our membership, and I mean that both internationally and in the United States. And I look at that in terms of the way that we define and target and grow the membership, as well as how we develop leaders so that they know the business of chapter operations and increasing the talent pool. So how I would address those is, one, I'd really look at hiring a business development manager. It's been talked about for a long time. The STC is now getting some experience at staff augmentation. The point is, we cannot rely on our communities and the website to grow our membership. Now, with the new website, we've gained about 1,000 members, but members are having less and less time, and especially in Europe or overseas anywhere, you can't rely on the lone or a couple of members to grow membership and train the STC at the same time what it means to run a volunteer organization outside of North America. The second thing I would address would be to continue ramping up the leadership webinar series, which I created for the Leaders Resource last year. It's helping to grow leaders through a virtual program that's based on our best practices, and it's also helping community leaders become groomed so that they can serve at society level positions. So it's really about membership growth right now.
Okay. Alan, did you want to respond to that?
Let's see, I'm not copying Vicki, but I agree totally that membership is the biggest challenge facing the society at this time. I think the society is doing so many things right, and the things that it's doing right are not necessarily visible to the outside world. But if you go back, say, 2 years ago and compare the society then to the society now, 2 years the question was, how do we keep the lights on? The house was on fire, and when the house is on fire, your actions are very directed. You got to put out the fire. And under the leadership of Mark Clifford and Cindy Curry, that happened. What also happened is when they were putting out the fire, they started and resurrected initiatives that we're seeing come to fruition today. Project Phoenix, of course, Michael Hughes, I think, gets a lot of credit for that as well. Certification, the BOC. So these things are coming to fruition, and these are providing high-quality member value. And they will also generate some new revenue streams for the society, and I think increase the stature of the society to the outside world. So let's see. So membership is important. I think member value is under control. I think we have that. I think we have an appealing story there. To add to what Vicki said, I think the society should advertise. And out of time?
Out of time. So sorry.
Out of time. Okay, so advertising, I'll try to address that in another question. Did I take 2 minutes?
Well, you get one as the respondent.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought we both answered the questions equally. Okay. My bad.
But
go ahead.
But you do get 2 minutes to answer this one. What is your vision moving forward for localized chapter benefits for members?
Okay, I'm hitting my stopwatch now. So There was a prominent U.S. politician named Tip O'Neill who said all politics is local, and I feel that that applies for professional societies as well. I think that wisdom is true for the STC. I think the chapters, the local chapters, are critical. As we are an international organization, I think we've had issues recently executing as an international organization. So we need to form, we need to grow, we need to nurture local chapters. Essentially, everywhere the STC wants to participate, everywhere the STC wants to have a presence, we need some volunteer presence at that location. Not everybody will attend local chapter meetings. We've seen that. That's a truism. But people find comfort in knowing that they have a local connection. It's not going to be in every city, but it should be in every country or every region in which the STC operates. So I think a general nurturing of chapters, encouraging chapters, providing the support that chapters need to form, to organize, to grow, is critical for moving forward. So I don't think it's a matter of what benefits we provide. I think we need to provide a nurturing environment and an infrastructure for chapters to form and flourish. That's it for me.
Vicki, oh, thanks. Vicki, did you want to respond to that? Vicki,
is Vicki
you're
muted?
Still muted? Are you muted? Because we can't hear you.
I'm sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that. I totally agree with the nurturing thought. A couple of years ago, I was approached by leadership to revamp the mentor program, and what I did was basically say, it's not working, here's what I would do instead. And what I came back with was a proposal for the leadership webinar series. We piloted it. I wanted to see if it was going to work or not, and then we actually rolled it out in 2010, and we got 10 of those done, and they're archived on the website. And I think we've shown that we can nurture communities through our tools that are available through the STC. Plus, I think it goes back also to your face-to-face versus social media, and now we've got the new website going. In the original proposal that I put forth, it was about leveraging tools on the website, so I'm really looking forward to that now that we have a new website. So, and the thing about the webinar series is it's about not just nurturing, but it's about helping people save time on starting from scratch and making leadership in the STC something exciting and something that you can learn from and take back to your job and perhaps get a promotion as well.
Okay, so separately from the question about chapters, but I think related to it was the question about quality and usefulness of the SIG. How will you use this position to improve them? And Vicki, that one's to you. Okay.
I have the same feelings about this. I mean, SIGs are communities that are specialized in a specific area. So I see the same thing where SIG leaders also can attend the Leadership Webinar Series. It's for all leaders. It's about community operations and learning those best practices. It's about having connection to mentors who can help you with setting up your budgets or putting together your program or dealing with how to gather volunteers. And once leaders know the basics, that's when the real creativity and innovation comes in, and that's where I think STC communities can then flourish, because they're not dealing with the day-to-day, what's in the chapter book, what do I need to be doing this month, and instead they know how to do it at night, and they can just have fun and be innovative, and that's where the STC will really grow.
Okay. And Alan, did you want to respond to this one?
Just briefly, in less than a minute. Let's see.
You can have a whole minute.
I'm very encouraged by the new community website. I think that infrastructure will just transform the SIGs and the STC communities. Right now, we all know how broken things were. I have no idea what communities I belong to, and that's a sad state. I should be very much aware of the STC SIGs I belong to. I should know my interaction with them. I I should have continual high-quality interaction with others in my SIGs, and that hasn't been the case, and I think that will change very soon. So that's something the office has done very well, I think, recently, and we'll see the benefits of their efforts very shortly.
Okay, thanks.
That's all I have.
Well, you have like 10 more seconds.
Okay.
I sincerely hope this next question will take less than 3 minutes total. Can you commit to the 3-year term requirement for Vice President, President, and past President Allen?
Okay, let me reset my stopwatch. Okay, start. Yes. So that was my short answer. Short answer is yes. The longer answer, we never know what the future holds, and I think we need to acknowledge that. If the person who asked this question, if that person expects an honest answer, you know, we've all been in situations in business, in life, where something you did not expect comes out of the blue. So with that caveat that we have no idea what tomorrow holds for any of us, yes, I can honestly commit to the 3-year term. I think that's reasonable. It was recently reduced from 4 to 3, so I think that makes life possibly a little bit easier for completing the commitment. And you know, it's certainly something I've designed my life around to handle. That's all I have.
Okay, Vicki?
My answer is also yes, and I also agree that things happen in life, and I think, you know, the STC has a very caring environment. I think that's still part of our brand. We care about each other and help each other and support each other. And I think as an example of that was watching Michael step down earlier than planned, and people were genuinely concerned. But they let him do what he needed to do, and Hillary went forward. And I think that says a lot for the kind of community that we're in and that we potentially could be leaders of.
Okay. Vicki, this one's to you. What additional initiatives are needed besides the ones already begun under Project Phoenix?
I've mentioned before, I feel really strongly about hiring a business development manager and helping us expand our growth and look at how we can market that a little bit better, and I mean that for both inside the United States and globally. So I'm not just looking at the BRIC countries where a lot of growth is still targeted, so Brazil, Russia, India, China, but also in November I came across an article in Newsweek that talked about the 10 cities in the United States positioned for growth or surviving during the recession and positioned for growth, and my first thought was, oh, you know, does STC have presence in all of those places? And the fact is, we can't expect our communities to have time to focus on that. And not everybody has that kind of strength and talent. The second thing is, really want to see us reaching out to organizations. LISA just closed. I don't know if they approached STC. I know STC was approached by several usability organizations last year, and I went to Munich to speak on a panel with them and then to spend a day on the weekend to talk to them about how we could work together. And I think that's important to have that as a priority, and also how to figure out more our relationship with TCOM. That's another example. But I think a lot of people expect that STC be the one to reach out because we're the one that's been around the longest. We have a big reputation. Some of it's good, some of it's not. But we're still kind of like the big brother, big sister, and I think people expect us to reach out.
Okay, Alan?
Okay, I think now's my opportunity to mention that I think the STC needs an outbound marketing initiative. We do actually very well with new memberships. There are, at this time of the year, I was told there are 40 new members coming into the office every day, 40 new membership applications, and that's coming, you know, that's just word of mouth. That's just people running into our publications, running into us on the website. There's very little outbound marketing that the society does, and I think that's the key to growing the organization, once again, back to its former size and increasing its stature and recognition in the professional society, in the professions and on the planet.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, so the next question I think is sort of related to this, but what is your single top priority for your term?
Okay. Reset stopwatch. Go. Okay, once again, making the analogy to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the House was on fire. I think Mark and Cindy came into the office of President with 3 possibilities. One, the society dissolves and gives its assets to another 503c organization, which I think we're seeing Lisa do that right now as we speak. The other would be the status quo, keep the lights on. And then the third would be position the society for future success. Get those initiatives, either launch new initiatives or revive dormant initiatives. So those were the 3 possibilities, and they hit the home run. They hit the third one. I think the options now for the incoming vice president and incoming president, probably more importantly, one would be continue the status quo. I think that's the worst case. We still have declining membership. We've right-sized. The society has right-sized and accommodated the current membership numbers, but to increase our stature, we really need to grow. So I think the middle target is stemming the membership decline, maybe staying at our current membership level. But I think the home run for the incoming vice president and president would be to grow membership, grow the stature of the society, grow its recognition among peer organizations. When I attend conferences in other fields, they're talking about content. Content is so important, so precious in the world now. And also recognition recognition globally. I think membership, growing membership is the key to all those things. That's my top priority. And that's all I have. Vicki may be muted.
No, I'm not. I was just waiting for, okay.
Okay, sorry.
So I just was waiting for Sarah to say go. I'm in total agreement there with a little bit of clarifying a little bit more in terms of not just growing the membership, but defining it. I think I hear a lot of questions about people say, oh, we need to bring in younger people. What are we going to do as older people retire? And it's not clear to me yet what that picture looks like. And I think defining that membership is going to be really important so that we know what we're growing towards. And are we growing towards old numbers or something new? I think hiring a business manager is going to be really critical. I think figuring out how to do that within the budget is going to be another challenge of that. I also see that growing the membership, again, it comes back to supporting our communities, and that's a key. It's been a key job of the Vice President the last few years, is communities and community development, and getting back to instilling excitement and being an ST leader and not, oh my God, what am I getting into, and I'm going to be burned out in 6 months. And also, while we're growing at membership, we need to just keep a very close eye on the budget, and I would have said that anyway, whether we've been in a financial crisis or not. It's just good business practice.
Okay, and sorry about that. I actually muted myself. So let's see, Vicki, I'll let you take this one, or you should take this one first. How do you intend to promote positive change within STC?
Creating an environment of calculated risk-taking. I think we've got so many ideas. STC members have a wealth of ideas. People are passionate about keeping the society going and growing. I think we need a little bit of a way how people can bring forward those ideas so that they get evaluated, implemented, see if there's money available, or if there's not, how will they generate income, and then measuring them and deciding, do we keep them going or not? And I think in that way we can make sure that the right money, time, and energy are focused on the right things.
Okay, and Alan, to you? Oh, was that it for you? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Alan?
Okay. First, I think we need to acknowledge the role of the Vice President. If you read the STC bylaws, the role of the Vice President is to carry out the wishes of and support the President and the Board of Directors. So that Vice President time period it's a time for learning, it's a time for nurturing, it's a time for getting your feet wet and knowing what you need to know to step up into that role. So I think that time is important for whomever takes the office. From there, so supporting the current initiatives of this society, looking to launch initiatives that possibly aren't underway or are not underway in a major way. Those are the things that I would intend to do to promote positive change.
Okay.
Coming up on 1 minute there.
Yep, thank you. And with that, we have a similar or perhaps related question about change. You know, what is your experience in promoting change?
Okay.
So that one to you, yeah.
Okay, so I get 2 minutes on that one.
Yep.
So these questions came up in the member website, the STC member questions to the candidates, and I admit I had a hard time with these the previous question and this question, and I realized that the reason I had a hard time is the supposition of change as a good thing. So I would not sell myself or promote myself as a candidate for change. Change happens. Change happened 2 years ago with the financial crisis, and the leaders responded appropriately. Change happened at the summit, where I serve as conference manager, when our attendance declined by 1/3 in 1 year. So the motivation, what I think is valuable in a leader, is not promoting change, but working towards a vision, having a vision, executing towards that vision, leading towards that vision. I think probably the most recent experience that I'm most proud of is having Tim O'Reilly as the keynote for the Sacramento Summit. By all indicators, we were not supposed to get Tim O'Reilly for keynote. He is very selective about the events he speaks at. He is very expensive. His office quoted us, I think, triple our budget for Dallas. So what I did is we learned what we had to about it. We learned what we could. We knew that he doesn't commit until 5 months out, which is later, much later than we like to book our keynote. He's very selective, and he responds to a personal approach. I basically, anybody who might know Tim, I said, how can we get him? And these are the things I learned. So I worked with Lloyd. I worked with the rest of the programming staff. I worked with the Honorary Fellows Chair, Felice Banner, and we executed and we got him. We could have had somebody else that you might have heard of, but we hit the home run based on that visionary, I'll claim visionary leadership. That's all I have.
Okay, Vicki?
My experience with promoting change has been at a few different levels. One, at the Coca-Cola Company, watching the communications organization roll out major change to inspire growth among the employees worldwide, watching CEOs change, watching CIO change, to whom I was working my last year there. I watched the STC transformation in the mid-2000s. It was very data-driven. The communication plan was weak in many ways, but it had a lot of good things going for it, but it was also a little bit ahead of its time. And then I've watched the leadership resource, the leadership webinar series be successful, and it's, I think, like Alan was saying, it comes back, success happens when change is focused, when it's aligned with a vision and strategy, and you're continually reviewing things to make sure that things are getting better and hitting measurable marks.
Okay, and Vicki, this next one is to you. This is perhaps my favorite question. I don't think it'll be your favorite question. Why do you want this position?
Oh, I don't have a problem with this question, actually. I've watched the STC, so I've been involved with the STC since 1994. I've been a community leader or a society level leader since 1998, various roles. And I spent the last 5 years working a lot in the background, talking with leaders, knowing what's going on. And the STC has done a lot in the last 5 years to clean house around finances, technology, the office, products and services. And I'm so excited, this is why I'm running, is because we are so positioned for growth like we haven't been in the last 10 years. And it just makes it such an exciting time to be in a position to be considered to lead this organization. At the same time, it's going to be a challenge, but we really have, I think, a very good foundation for moving forward. The challenge, I think, is doing things quickly and staying focused and not getting sidetracked, hopefully, with something else that comes along. But if that happens, it happens. But I think it's really important to do things quickly at this point. We don't have a lot of time, and to stay focused. So.
Okay, Alan, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this one if you need it.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay. I wish I could have taken that retroactively.
Sorry.
But, oh, no worries. So I've said this many times. I say it in all my chapter visits, but I really believe it. Now is the most exciting time in the history of the profession to be a technical communicator. For so many reasons. We have more and better ways to reach our audience, to engage our audience, to know our audience. We have more and better tools to work with. And if you pay attention to people like Tim O'Reilly, people are reading more than ever before. Words are precious. We still receive most of our information in text. So I think based on that excitement about the profession, about our future, based on what the society has given to me personally, the personal rewards I've experienced, I think now it's such a wonderful, exciting time to be in this profession, and I think it's a wonderful, exciting time to lead the profession. That was the minute buzzer.
Sorry, no, that was mine. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. So I'll take Sarah up on her offer. I'll share this anecdote in an email blast, but just to give you a summary, STC has stature issues. And I was at TCOM last year. I was at a bar. I talked to some German writers. The conversation was strained because I don't speak German well, but they said something to me that really stuck. And they said that they have the same issues as any other technical writer, but TCOM, their professional organization, gives them stature. I want every STC member to be proud of being an STC member, and I want that to be based on what STC is accomplishing on the planet. So that's my motivation. That's my goal. Should I win the election?
Okay, thank you. Now, I have some questions coming in. Did you want to respond to that, Vicki?
I do. I think as we expand globally, just briefly, I think as we expand globally, we really need to be very sensitive to culture. I know plenty of people who are TCOM members in the German-speaking community. TCOM operates very differently than STC does. And also in Germany, specifically in Germany, certification is huge from a cultural perspective. And for example, in Austria and Germany, titles are very, very important in the culture, and this goes back a couple hundred years. So the fact that a German might say how important or what TCOM does is going to also have a little bit of a different spin, interpreting that from an American point of view. And it's just something to be culturally aware of as we expand globally. That doesn't surprise, his comment doesn't surprise me, is what I'm saying. That's it.
Okay, I have, Alan, did you want to jump back into that? I do have audience questions, which I want to get to.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. So I have a number of audience questions, and for those of you that are on the call, go ahead and keep them coming. There's a question here about value. I know so many technical writers who are not members, they just don't see the value for the cost. How do you think that can be addressed? And I'll send that one over to let me think. Who's Alan, over to you. You were the rebutter on the last one.
Okay, so member value. One thing I might be a little bit old school, and unfortunately we don't have an interactive dialogue. But if I said to you, to the group, how many people have read a magazine in the past, say, week or 2 weeks or month? I bet most of you would say yes. Now, I go to other professional conferences, other professional societies. I see the stack of publications. I see the stack of magazines. I think the baseline benefit that motivates a lot of people to join are the publications. And I do regret that we no longer deliver intercom by default in the Western Hemisphere. I regret that we don't print the journal. I hope we can take another look at our publication strategy and have that physical source of knowledge for members. There are certainly other ways to disseminate information, but David Pogue recently in the New York Times observed that things don't replace things. Things split. We still listen to the radio 50 years after I bet everybody predicted the radio would be dead. We just don't spend as much time, and there's a lot of competition from other sources. So I want to make sure the baseline value is there. I want to make sure when you sign up for STC membership that you get something physical, something real from the society. And from there, I think a lot of the other member benefits, we have not talked much about the educational offerings that are far superior to what they were 2 years ago, and I think are actually one of the ways we can expand globally, just because we do education well, we do webinars well, we do certificate sessions well. Project Phoenix, the new community platform, I think there are many other offerings of value that are coming online, but I think the sources of knowledge, the publications, even the body of knowledge, which we've also not mentioned, are kind of the baseline that I think we need to do a better job of providing. That's all I have.
Vicki?
Clearly, our webinars and our magazine, they also showed up at the top of the products and services survey that was done last year. But I think also when people come to an STC event, they get a huge value out of the networking, the people that they meet. A lot of people are still lone writers, or they're struggling in their groups, or if they're working in a department, or they're looking for new ideas. And I think that's why supporting our communities and their programs is so important, because those face-to-face events are what really get people involved, get them to stay. You get a lot of silent members who do receive the magazines, but it's the participation that makes the society so great. And I think one of the nicest compliments I think I ever got was when Michael Fritz from TCOM came to a Transalpine chapter meeting in the early days in Maribor, Slovenia. And I was really excited that he was there and kind of curious why he was there and what he was observing. And he said, "We do such a good job at creating a positive, fun environment, and we're really good at developing leaders and leadership skills." And a lot of that happens face-to-face, and I think that's a huge value that we underestimate and don't talk about enough.
So there's perhaps a follow-on question to this, or a follow-on comment that at least in this person's chapter, and I think I'm actually seeing this here locally as well, that there are people attending the local meeting who do not see the value in membership. So they attend local meetings and pay to get into local meetings, but are not joining the umbrella organization. Do either one of you want to comment on that?
Sure. Oops, there goes my alarm again.
You're out of time.
Is it okay, Alan? Or?
Oh, please do. Yes, I'm sorry to be facetious there.
I think this goes back to my point about my highest priority in terms of growing the membership. It's not just growing the membership, but it's defining this, defining it as well. I think that's not an issue that's unique to your local group, Sarah. Happens a lot. Sometimes we get people to sign up. It's a great opportunity to get people to sign up and get them involved. Not everybody wants to be involved these days. Not everybody has the time. And everybody's, got their own budgets these days, and if they've got $400 to spend and they're choosing between 6 professional societies, and the competition is stiffer now than it was. But I think we need to embrace that type of local member, so to speak. And they may not be a member, but they're paying a fee to go to that event, and that's going into a community's budget, and they can use that for other events. So I think we need to look at that kind of participant in a different way, perhaps, and not necessarily as a bad thing, but just figure out how it fits into the whole membership picture and how we look at it.
Okay, Alan, did you want to comment on that one?
Yes, I think that's a hard problem. I think it's a difficult problem, the problem of people participating locally but not joining the international organization. And as Vicki said, it's a problem that you're going to see anywhere in any organization, in any aspect of life. There will always be people that insist on watching the concert from outside the chain link fence, if you know what I mean. People who want to participate who want to play but don't want to pay. And all we can do, I think, is hopefully we can keep the number who do that manageable. And one of the ways to do that is to grow the membership base, make membership more attractive so that people will be motivated to join. Increase member value. It would be wonderful if there were a slightly lower price point for entry for membership. I'm not sure if that's reasonable or feasible, but that's something I would like to take a look at. So grow the membership, grow the member value. That should keep the outliers under control, I would say, the people that participate locally without joining the international organization.
Can I add something to that, Sarah, as an exploration? So yeah, I think this is all kind of in the realm of opening up STC beyond our membership to generate money. I think we should be opening up to selling our products and services to people who are not members. I think it can generate income and this help to promote the society as well. So I guess I want to kind of think of things as let's include this particular market segment and figure out how to maximize it.
Okay. I have a couple of other membership questions, and there's some interesting ones in here. But here's one that I wanted to ask you about and see if I can get the bullet point answer version. There's a question here about, and this is in response to some of the earlier discussion, lots of mentions of the need to grow the membership, but not ideas of how to do that. What are some specific ways to do that? And I think what I'm going to ask you guys to do is alternate. So, Alan, if you could pop up a bullet point version of one way to grow the membership, and then I'll kick it over to Vicki.
Okay, so bullet point, outbound marketing to other professional societies for vertical industries that employ a lot of technical writers or for whom technical communication is important.
Can you give me one example of one industry?
Oh, okay. Heavy manufacturing, aerospace. The concern I'm getting here is that sometimes I worry that we are too focused on software technical writers, too focused on technology writers, if that makes sense. So I think there are a lot of people responsible for producing content, even human resources with policies and procedures that we need to do a better job of reaching out to.
Okay.
And where do they go?
Vicki?
Yeah.
Vicki, do you have a single bullet point that you wanted to highlight here?
Yeah, for example, these 10 cities that were mentioned in Newsweek. We had we need to target a program with or without a business development manager, which I think it would be better with one, and say, well, the city in Illinois is positioned for growth in technology for the next 10 years. So we need to get in there and look at the companies that are growing there and actually market to them the STC, and to fulfill our mission of promoting the arts and sciences and technical communication and help educate those business leaders, the CEOs, the CIOs, the leaders of the HR functions, and get in there and talk to them about what it is that STC does and this industry does.
Okay, Alan, did you want to kick in one more? And Vicki, then I'll come back to you.
let's see. So the original question.
Oh, sorry, we're still on specific grow the membership things.
Okay. So outbound marketing, increasing member. I think marketing and publicity is the umbrella key. So unless I went on for a minute or so, I think.
No. Okay.
That's that's my main approach. That's what I would focus on in solving the problem.
Okay. And Vicki, did you want to go back into this, or do you agree with that, or?
I have an additional one. I think continuing the leadership webinar series, you've proven it. It's a good model. There's excitement around it. People are optimistic about it. And I think the point here is that when leaders know how to run their business, and they're not scratching around, how do I do this? Where do I find information? How do I get support? But simply they learn how to do it the right way or a better way. Then they're going to have strong programs. And it's the programs that attract the local people, because once people are attracted, you can tell them about the magazine, you can tell them about the webinars, you can get them involved, you can get them excited. And that face-to-face is so important for STC for growing membership. So having strong communities, and for strong communities, you need leaders who know what they're doing, and because in the areas where there are no local events going on, it dwindles. Membership dwindles, people drop out, people drop off.
Okay. I have a question about student voting. I want to kind of keep that part of it as short as possible because there's kind of an interesting follow-up question. So for each of you, do you favor or oppose the full rights for student vote, that students should be given full votes within the context of the society, student members?
Who goes first?
Sorry, I've lost track. Vicki.
I have not been involved with this topic, so I don't know the ins and outs at the level of detail that others who might oppose it would. I think if they're interested in voting, they should be allowed to vote. If anybody who's interested in voting means to me that they're passionate about the organization and they want to be involved to see it be the organization they want it to be.
Okay, Alan?
Okay, so two axes for my answer to this question. Do I think student members should be allowed to vote? No, I don't. And actually, this is the question I was somewhat concerned you would ask. The other axis to the question is, do I feel strongly about it? No, I don't feel strongly about it. Why do I feel? Why am I very mildly opposed to students voting? The main reason is from the position of categorizing the society's offerings. Student membership is a very low-cost way to bring people into the society. It's not meant to be a substitute for regular membership. What we want to do is convert people to regular membership and motivate people to become regular members. And what that means is that there has to be a set of benefits for student membership, and there should be a slightly better, bigger, larger set of benefits for regular membership. So that being said, voting it's a really easy thing to put into Category B to make a benefit of regular membership. The other thing I would mention about student membership, whether students should be allowed to vote, I think it's the wrong question to ask. At a visionary, strategic level, with the goal of growing the society, increasing the recognition and visibility of the society, we should be asking ourselves, how do we manage student chapters? How do we nurture student chapters? How do we form new student chapters? And I can say, having been a student myself once, would I care? Would voting make a difference to me in deciding to join the professional society? That's just not where the especially the conventional student. That's not where the conventional student is coming from. And the midlife students, the career-changing students, we don't want student membership to be an easy thing. We want to encourage people to be regular members. So if a career changer decides to revert to student membership, if somebody pursuing a master's degree in midlife, etc., I don't think it's unreasonable for them to lose some of the benefits. It should be, we should encourage regular membership, and have student membership should be the stepping stone into the society, not like a break that one can take. Although people can treat it that way, but we just don't want to encourage that. So I hope that makes some sense.
There's a follow-up question to this, and I think I already know what the two of you are going to say, but the follow-up is, should we be concerned about diluting the professionalism of STC if we do allow students these voting privileges? And Alan, you want to respond to that briefly, and then I'll kick it over to Vicki.
Okay, two things about that. I looked at the student voting petition. I think fewer than 20 had signed it when I looked at it this morning. I would bet that if we allow student member voting, that's the number of students that would vote. So once again, it's the wrong thing to look at in terms of how it affects the society. Not a big deal. The other thing, diluting the professionalism of the society, we already get about 10% voting participation from the regular membership. I think that's okay. We have the nominating committee. We have the pretty tough processes to get on the society ballot. Personally, I vote in every single general election, but I don't always vote for Third Circuit Judge of the 9th District unless I read something in the paper. There's just, people need to have the right to pay attention to things that are important to them. I also think people should be able to count on the society as a continuing force, and it should not make a huge difference whether Vicki ascends to the vice presidency or I do. We have slightly different views, but we're both passionate about the society, and we'll both work within the context that's already been set up for us through the bylaws, through the board of directors, through the incoming president. So, it's not like one of us is going to be wildly successful and the other one will go up in flames. The society will succeed. It will be strong. We have some minor differences, and that's something that if you care, you can choose. And if you don't care, the society is still there for you.
Hey, Vicki, did you want to respond to the question about diluting professionalism by students?
I don't have a big issue with it. I think especially one of the topics is how do we bring in younger members. Not to talk about the career changers for the moment, but if they're passionate and they want to, I don't see a problem with it. And I think there's a bigger problem in terms of how do you define a student member. And if somebody's shelling out the money and the time to do that, I don't think that we should either take away that privilege. And I don't see it. There's certainly not the mass for diluting it today, but I don't see it. If they're studying something in technical communication, how is that diluting our profession? I just don't, the professionalism, I don't understand that connection. So I still, okay. I'm not concerned.
All right. I've got a bunch of other really, well, good from my point of view questions. Sorry. One of them coming in is, there is much that is now free out there, webinars, blogs, etc. Why should people pay for the ones that STC offers? Are they really any better? Vicki.
Well, I'd like to think that they are. You don't pay for things that you don't pay for, you don't appreciate enough. Yes, there's a lot of information out there. I think it kind of goes back to the issue of how people feel about the reputation of the STC and the people who are presenting at those webinars. If you don't see a value, then you don't appreciate it.
Alan, you want to tackle that one?
Yes, and I would agree with Vicki and expand. I don't think any other source provides the package that the society provides. Sure, you can find information in a blog and a wiki, but nobody else provides professionally produced, curated information in the context of a professional society that provides networking and educational programs and recognition and events and so many other opportunities. I would never have had the professional experiences and personal joys that have come from my participation in the society. I would never have had that if I followed the TechCom blog, just to make maybe an obvious analogy. So I think there's value for professional societies. The other important mission of the STC is to promote the profession and to professionals, I think that's an intangible item of very high importance. If you're a technical communicator and you believe in your profession and you want to see it promoted and recognized and grow, then it makes a lot of sense to support a professional society, to support the STC, because that's one of its missions. That's one of its primary missions.
I also wanted to add one last thing, is that when somebody does a webinar for the STC, it's an STC member usually, and it's the kind of person you can call up and say, I listened to your webinar and I'd like to talk a little bit more about something. And so the networking aspect and people helping each other is huge. It's a huge piece that you get with the STC that you wouldn't get by just paying somebody from somewhere else or getting something for free.
Right, and if I may add, that same personal connection is possible with the vendors as well. If you're a Author8 user, a FrameMaker user, a Doc2Help user, the people responsible for those products are at the summit. They're in the booth. It's not marketing. I don't want to disparage anybody, but it's not hired marketing people. It's the product managers, the people directly responsible for the development of the tools that we use on a daily basis. And you can get their contact information. You can give them a call on the phone. You can send them email. That sort of connection would not be possible with the conventional free sources of media.
I have a question here about internal marketing. Has anyone thought of marketing to the communities? Many councils, this one's going to be to you, Alan, initially. Many councils are not convinced, and I'm warning you because you're not going to like this question. Many councils are not convinced of the value that head office provides compared to the pass-through funds. And I think Michael Hughes' sudden resignation could have been delivered better from a PR point of view. Some kind of vague reason would have prevented speculation. So I think this is a question about communication and marketing with the communities. And if you would like to tackle that, that would be lovely.
Okay. In any organization of any size and complexity, things will happen that you don't agree with. Things will happen that could have been executed better. Michael's resignation was unfortunate. He has chosen to, as far as I know, he has chosen to remain private about the event, about the reasons for doing it. The communication, I think, in hindsight, I could see that it was. Maybe some things could have been changed, but I thought it was done pretty darn well, given the surprise of the event, and given the timing. The FCC was on the verge of the Project Phoenix launch, and there was certainly concern about detracting from that event. So one can poke at individual instances. There were certainly issues with the beta testing of the old community webinar program. It was unfortunate. It was sad. If I were responsible, I would apologize. And on behalf of the society, I do apologize for that. But the important thing is keeping our eye on the ball, keeping the forward progress. I looked at the FCC website last night, and it's so much better than it was a month ago before the relaunch. And so that continuous improvement, seeing the BOC come together, seeing certification come together, hopefully for launch at the summit in Sacramento, seeing Project Phoenix happen, I think that's when I want to keep my eye on. I want to keep my eye on that. I want those to be my motivators. The daily detractors, yep, I'm going to do things people aren't happy with. The society will do things people aren't happy with, but I think the important thing, the thing we need to do to get respect is to be continuously improving, continuously self-analyzing, continuously making things better. So we are a society of human beings. I'll acknowledge that. If you vote for me, you're voting for a human being, and I'll be serving with a bunch of other human beings who are going to screw up quite a bit, actually. But I think that's important in life. And it's just part of how human beings operate.
Vicki, would you like to talk a little bit about the inbound community marketing or internal?
I'm I don't know who brought this up, but it's a really good question because STC does not do a good job with its internal communications. It hasn't for the decade that I was been around involved at the leadership level, and it's certainly a place that can be improved really easily. There are people who do internal communications professionally. There are organizations where we can learn from and help people and ask people to volunteer to help us figure that out. We don't need to pay somebody to do that. I worked in internal communications at the Coca-Cola company within the CIO's office my last 3 years at the company, and I learned so much in watching how it can be done well, that it's not rocket science. There is a certain discipline and a certain kind of route map, and it's always been a pain point, and I would love to start seeing some change in there. So, great question.
Let me see if you guys can do this one in, a sentence or less. I have a question here, Vicki, to you. How many hours per week or month does a VP or president have to spend approximately? What's your best guess? Whatever is required. I think there are times when, on average, you're looking at 10 to 15 hours a week. I think there are weeks where it's less than that, and I think there are weeks where it's more. Alan, what's your take?
In preparing to run, I did reach out to former presidents. I reached out to people that ran and lost. I just wanted to cover all contingencies, so I think I have a pretty good. I have several sample points. Not immediate. Our former president told me that he spent on average about 8 hours a week. I think he was very good at managing his time. I expect a 40-hour work week every month devoted to the STC, spread over the course of the 4 weeks, I trust. So on average, easily, as Vicki mentioned, 10 hours, 15 hours, and certainly more at times.
Okay. Do either of you have any numbers, and if you say no, we'll move on to a different question. Do either of you have any numbers on webinars and conferences and the percentage of, or the sales going to non-members? What is the success rate there? Do we know? Do we know in this context?
I do not know. I do not know.
Yes, and I don't know either percentage to non-members. I can tell you that finances for the summit have stabilized. So once again, that should generate revenue for the society. And the educational offerings, the webinars and the certificate sessions online are generating a nice revenue stream that did not exist or barely existed 2 years ago. But percentage of non-members, that I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to swear that this question did not come from me. There's a question here about your position, Vicki, on soliciting membership to respond to RFPs for contracted services in support of society initiatives. I can tell you right now, could be translated as, why did STC members not get to bid on the website redesign? That's the real question.
I can't answer that part of the question. I have seen that this has been an issue.
I think they're asking for your position on doing so, as opposed to, I shouldn't say why
yes,
they should.
Yes, they should be. Yes, we should be soliciting, or yes, our members should have access to the RFP in the way that we would give it to somebody externally. You have a bidding process. You put it out there. You let everybody know. And then whether or not we should give people in the SEC the first preference, I think that would be an appropriate thing to do, because it's our society.
I need to jump in, and I sorry to cut you off. We're running out of time, but I agree absolutely. The RFP needs to be written well. The requirements need to be stated, succinctly, and but any STC member should be evaluated against an RFP if an opportunity exists for supporting society.
Yeah, we'll take about 2 more minutes. We're almost done. But both of you agree that members should be have these RFPs available to them and be allowed to bid? And I think, Vicki, that you said that we should consider the idea of preference for a member.
Not preference, but maybe give them a week in advance. Let them know first. I mean, we should be leveraging our own skills. That's how we're going to increase our reputation.
Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. I would need to think about that a little bit. We in a volunteer organization, you do get a lot of people saying, I can do that, and there's a huge difference between being able to redesign a website and being able to architect, design, launch, deploy a website for a large professional organization with 10,000 members. So there is some effort in filtering out the people that say, I can do that for free. That's why I mentioned the RFP has to be vigorously written so that any candidate can be addressed against the requirements stated in the RFP, so that we can be certain that we are hiring a qualified firm for whatever support the society needs. So yeah, I think Vicki's idea is certainly valid, and I would just want to put some thought into it before I said yes or no.
Okay, I'm going to put up your email addresses. I have a final question which actually relates to that one. But for those of you that are on the call or that are viewing this recording, that is where you can find the two of them. Vicki's address is VKL_STC, which is hard to read because of the underline there, and then Alan Houser at ARH@GroupLocally. So the related question to this is, I'm going to send this to, where am I sending this? Vicki, is it to you? No, Alan, to you.
Yep. Okay.
Possibly, sorry. And this is your position on volunteerism for society initiatives. The person posting this question says, things like the website, currently the society position is no, that they do not want volunteers getting involved in such things. That is what the question says. What is your take on that?
Okay, so as the potential vice president and president of the society, my concern with volunteerism is that initiatives that have a professional paid leader have a higher rate of success than initiatives that don't. And that that's global, that's big picture. We can argue details, we can talk about exceptions on both sides. Right now, I think an example within the society, certification. Certification has a paid consultant leading the initiative or working very closely with the volunteer members. And that appears to be making a big difference in the rate in which certification is coming to fruition. So, yes, certainly the right volunteer in the right circumstance can do wonders, nurtured properly, but it's tough, and one really has to look at the resources available to the society, and I think paid consultants, paid staff certainly are a valuable resource that can be applied to certain very high-profile initiatives. Project Phoenix, of course, has a consulting firm behind it as well, and that's another initiative that is coming to fruition very quickly. So I think volunteers make the society. They're at the heart and they're the core of the society, but certain strategic initiatives need the help of paid staff and paid consultants, and that can be a very sound business investment. It's not a cost; it's an investment if the initiative comes to fruition, which it looks like Project Phoenix and certification are doing.
Vicki, what's your take on this?
I think it's pretty similar to Alan's. I think it still comes back to the bidding process. Can you just repeat the question again?
Okay, so the original question was, your position on volunteerism on society initiatives such as the website. Currently the society position is no.
Okay. I mean, I think, and that actually, I didn't realize it had been so clearly stated, that the position is no. I think a lot comes down to the bid, how the RFP is written, how the bid comes back, what it looks like, the track record of the individual or the company that's bidding for it, and the associated responsibility on consequences of not fulfilling. important projects for the society. But I think we need to figure out a way to allow our volunteers to step in, because the society is also there to, the society is there, one, to be a well-run business, but it's also there to provide opportunities for people to grow and try new things in a safe, relatively safe environment. So we need to find that balance. And I think it's more a process issue than a position issue.
Right, and if I can add to that, the communities are such a wonderful avenue for that. If you want to do website design on a volunteer basis, your community probably needs you. And I've seen some communities do wonderful things. And certainly handling initiatives for the International Society, we need to hire people with a track record. Perhaps community involvement is one of the places where you get that track record.
Okay, well, thank you both. We are out of time, and then some. I also want to thank the people that attended and came in and dropped in all these really great questions for the two of you.
That's terrific. Thank you so much.
I assume that you are both going to be taking additional questions as needed via email and also through the STC website. I will encourage everybody to vote when the ballots come out. It occurs to me I don't know when that is. So
the 9th of March.
I suppose we will. 9th of March?
9th of March to the 30th.
Yeah, 9th of March. And Sarah, if I may say, the STC website is the preferred venue for providing questions. Actually, with the election rules say that if I get questions privately from any public forum, I need to share those questions with Vicki and vice versa. So
exactly.
If I'm answering questions on a blog or a wiki or any public forum, we both need to have the same opportunity to respond. And that's why, so for that reason, among several others, the STC website, the Ask the Candidates question interface is probably the most appropriate way to approach us or engage us.
Or it sounds as though perhaps if somebody's going to send one of you emails, send it to both.
Yes. Yep. That's another good way to handle the issue.
Either way, it will become transparent through the election page.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
There are no hidden conversations in that sense.
Yep. Assuming it's a public dialogue of some sort, we can certainly respond to private emails.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you both, and we hope to see you soon. This should be exciting. We will have the recording available hopefully within a day or two, and so thank you to all the people that attended, and especially to Vicki and Alan.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Vicki.
Very
Talk to you again soon, I trust.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.